Do I imagine though, like in an urban, so visually in an urban
Mhm.
setting, it would be sort of similar to a multi-unit residential building, except that the way it's designed internally is how you describe it. But then you're saying in the rural setting, it would be more of separate buildings of the individual units and the common house in the center or somewhere.
There are two people in the US, so Charles Durrett and Catherine McCammett, or Chuck and Katie. They studied these Danish models and brought them to the United States, and they're actually the ones that came up with the term co-housing. So in Danish, it's my Danish is terrible, but it's something around like bofilskape, which translates to living community. And so they went and studied these models. I believe it was the early 80s, and came up with this term co-housing. In their definition, it's usually about 30 units. So there are communities that go in both directions in terms of scale, but often in an urban setting, like you're saying, it does look much like a normal multifamily building, but usually they're like an L or a U shape so that they bracket that outdoor space. They can also be a courtyard configuration. They bracket an outdoor space that's shared, so the residents will garden together. Often part of co-housing is that people do the property management as a collective. So there's some cost savings there. And then in the rural settings, yeah, I have seen it a bunch of different ways, but typically the common house is located in a spot where it is somewhat equidistant from the units that surround it. And there's a lot of different building types that can be co-housing.
Mhm.
Certainly, ones in rural settings can look like multifamily buildings, but often they take on more of a village character. Sometimes they're like a row house almost, where they're connected, though they have shared walls. Sometimes they're kind of like a duplex style that gets aggregated, or a triplex, or so
Okay.
units will share a little bit of wall as a cost saving measure. And one thing
Okay.
that's critical that I forgot to mention was that although they share these extensive common facilities, each unit has its own stuff as well. So the units tend to be smaller than you would think of as a typical American single family home, but they do have functional kitchens, their own living space, bedrooms, etc.